Welcome to the Hardware Nation Rapid Fire. Anubhav is the CEO and co-founder of Naptick. It's crazy because I saw this thing last when it was like a skeleton.
Yes.
And now you come back to the US with a full product. So
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Ritwik. Thank you for having me here.
And for those of you that don't know, Naptick is a AI sleep companion. I will let you do more of the talking about it. Why don't you give us the quick pitch?
Sure, yeah. I think I have been fascinated by sleep as an area because people are going to live very very long now. Longevity is going to be there, but people are still not sleeping well, and that's why when I look back, when you have DoorDash where you press a button and food is here, when you have Uber you press a button and the cab is here, I started visualizing that if you have to sleep, where would that button should be? And I realized that button can't be on the phone, that has to be on a physical device. And that's where we started building Naptick. So essentially, this is the button. So if you press it, our promise is that it will make you sleep faster.
Amazing. Great pitch. Ryan, I think he might have gotten a sneak peek of one of our questions. No, but he has not seen the questions.
No,
Are you
I'm
ready
not.
for the rapid fire?
Yes, I am.
So it's 10 questions. You have 20 seconds to answer. And there's 3 tiers. So we start with the first tier, which is easy questions.
Okay.
Easy answers, the middle tier, and then there's a little bit more difficult tier.
Wow.
So we divide up the questions. It's 10 questions. So let's get started with the first question.
Let's go.
Why does the world need Naptick?
Everyone deserves to sleep better. You deserve to sleep better. I deserve to sleep better. Our families deserve to sleep better. And that's where Naptick comes in. Phone is not a solution for people to sleep faster. That's where Naptick comes in as a physical AI in your bedroom to help you sleep faster and better.
Why did this need to be hardware? Like, why couldn't this just be an app? Why did you have to build hardware for it?
So there have been multiple apps which people have been building, right? For tracking, like Headspace and Calm gives you something. But what happens is the moment you pick up the phone, that's where you end up jumping to a TikTok or an Instagram, or all the productive thoughts starts coming in. That's where you don't need a phone. I want to make the bedroom a phone-free environment. But still the essential thing which you have to do can be done by Naptick.
What's your favorite Naptick feature?
The most favorite feature for me is the moment I enter my bedroom, all my social apps get locked. And I think that is my favorite feature because I ended up going to X and LinkedIn all the time the moment I used to hit the bed. That doesn't happen anymore.
All right, I've got a bonus question here. How does that work? Like, how do you make it so that when you walk in, your phone, it does not work? Or like, how does that function? Like, are you just putting your phone somewhere, or what happens?
So phone remains with you. Imagine like the way an Apple tag works. So it is basis the NFC as a communication device. So the device knows where your phone is, and the moment the phone comes into proximity of device, that's where the phone gets locked.
Interesting. Okay, that's actually really cool. One of the interesting questions I have here is the goal for people to graduate off of your product? Like, is the goal to build this habit where they don't use their phone when they walk in, or do you see this as like a long-term kind of solution that continues to, help the person grow?
So essentially everyone has some quirk about when they sleep, right? Somebody wants to drink water, somebody wants to have some certain pillow. My daughter loves to have a pushy, a small teddy bear with her. So I want to ensure that Naptick becomes that physical device without which people can't sleep. But at the same time, it just helps you to sleep immediately. So you press a button, your brain goes into a snooze mode, and you end up sleeping.
Most founders in the wellness space are kind of repackaging what I would say is like similar science.
Yeah.
What is Naptick doing differently?
So what Naptick does is it actually combines everything into one device where you can speak to the device, you can listen to calming music, your phone apps get logged, and we're actually looking at a room environment as well. All these things are available in individual spaces. But imagine a bedroom, how many hardware will you have? That's where Naptick comes in. One device solves it all for you.
All right, I've got another bonus question here. What would you say to Naptick? Like, when you're using a Naptick, what do you speak to it about? Like, is this for journaling, or what are you using it for?
So I do 2 things here. One, at time, it's just a brainstorming engine with me. Because my Gemini and Claude are sort of integrated with this, and also to set reminders. When I hit the bed in the night, that's where I become most productive. I start thinking I have to tell this guy to do this guy to do this, and that's where I just tell Naptick to remind me tomorrow, and just it gets into my calendar.
One of the things that I feel like you'd agree with is sleep is deeply personal.
Yeah.
And so, like, no one person sleeps the same way, as you said. Like, they have different preferences.
Yeah.
How do you build a product that kind of works for everybody?
Yeah, so I think the whole key is that how can you make the product very, very modular? Imagine a DoorDash where you have so many food choices, but it is different for every individual, right? The same thing happens here as well. And the great part here is that I have an feedback loop from any wearable you are wearing. We are very integrated to any wearable on the planet. That way I get a feedback loop. So imagine it works like an agent for you, which just knows you so well and works well for you. So that's the whole trick here. There's a feedback loop and it continues to learn and it works for you.
So it's like a physical sleep agent.
It's a physical sleep agent.
All right, this is tier 3.
Yeah.
What led you to building Naptick?
I think it's very personal to me. I turned 40 around 2 years ago, and that's where I started thinking about longevity. In my family, there are multiple cases where my father-in-law had a stroke when he was very young. My mother-in-law had a Parkinson. All these diseases are going to happen more or less, for every parents now. And that's where I thought that I have to ensure that I solve for sleep. I have been wearing Whoop, Aura, but I see that they are just diagnosis, but not a solution. That's when Naptick comes in.
What do you say to customers that don't necessarily want a device that's always listening in their room?
I think it's a brilliant question. That is the reason why I don't have an Alexa or a Google Home in my bedroom. I'm okay to have it in my living room. And that's where we took a conscious call that device is not always listening. You have to double press this button here. Only then the mic gets activated and then I start listening.
Got it.
That way the control is completely with you. We are not listening till the time you press this button.
And is there a visual that shows up when
So the haptic comes in, the moment you happens, then's where the entire wave comes in on the screen. That's where we know that, as a user that we are listening. But the whole idea is, I think Alexa and Google are always listening, and that's why we don't want it in the bedroom.
Yeah, that definitely makes me feel a lot more comfortable because I think the push to talk is very valuable in hardware today when, there's all these devices listening.
Correct. Because solving for a wake word is an easy problem.
So what do you think could be the biggest bottleneck to Naptick's growth?
I think capital, essentially, because we are essentially not making a new category. People are still spending so much money on the trackers and closing the loop with things like Gate Sleep. I think we'll continue to grow capital. I think that's where we'll continue to build the product because the product is very, very modular in nature. I can actually have 4 more products coming out of this shell itself.
If you are an investor, be sure to reach out to Anubhav.
Yes.
All right. So the last question that I ask every hardware founder when they get in is, what is your favorite consumer hardware product?
Yeah, so I think there is a massive wave of physical AI products coming in, right? And we keep seeing it in your podcast as well all the time. But I think for my personal favorite continues to be Dyson.
Which one?
The vacuum cleaner, V7.
Okay.
And I think that's one
it's a good
which
one.
is my favorite. Yeah, and I really, really follow Dyson founder all the time while I'm building Naptick.
The Dyson is such an inspirational company. I mean, the founder, just the way that he built the company and it's insane.
Correct.
And now Dyson is a household name. So
Correct.
That's a great one. I don't think we've heard that one before.
Yeah.
That's a first.
Yes.
Well, thank you for coming by the studio.
Thank you so much, Ritwik. Always a pleasure.
I'm excited to try out Naptick.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much.
Cool.